Yes, thank you very much. That's Suttled in Ashfield congregation, is that right?
It is, correct.
I
yeah.
left a message, yes.
Yes. Are you local?
Well, I don't really want people to visit me in my house. I'm happy to speak on the phone or on WhatsApp.
Of course, yeah. No
Yes.
problem.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, since the lockdown, I've been on your website a lot, and I've been reading Enjoy Life Forever.
Yes.
I'm kind of puzzled about lesson 29.
Okay.
What happens when we die, on page 119. Is it possible to help? Are you familiar with this?
I am, yeah.
Okay. Lesson 29 and lesson 30 really seem to advocate what's called soul sleep, that when you die, you cease to exist. Now, would I have understood this correctly?
Yes. Yeah, I think that I've not heard it, especially in those terms, but because of what we understand the soul to be, is that we would just be written in God's book for a future resurrection onto the earth.
But when a person dies,
Yeah.
do they cease to exist? Because is a person just the body of flesh and bones?
Yes.
Right. So that's called soul sleep. I would happen to believe that people have two parts to their nature, which is called the dichotomy. And that is that we have a body of flesh and bones, then we have a soul or spirit. Now, those words have a wide range of meaning. There is some interchange between soul or spirit, but what I'm saying is we have two parts to our nature. We have a physical part to our nature,
Yes.
which our mothers give birth to, but we also have a spirit or a soul within us. So, as I understand it, that would be the main difference between what your book is saying and what most of the churches, Catholic, Protestant and Orthodox, would be teaching?
Yes. So when we have it, what would often be rendered a soul, we feel that from studying the Bible, that just relates to the person, to the body, the whole person. So, like Adam became a living soul, was when his body became animated by God.
One thing.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, one thing that puzzles me is that your book completely ignores the scriptures which the other side use. I mean, there's just no reference to some of the Bible references that Christians have used for 2,000 years to prove that we have not just a physical body, but we have a soul or spirit as well, which goes to live on. The soul or spirit lives on after our death.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, with fundamentally different understanding that there's going to be a resurrection onto the earth as well. So there's quite a lot of difference. Obviously it's not just plucked out of nowhere. For example, when Jesus went to resurrect
I'm
Lazarus,
sorry, I'm not really interested in the resurrection on the earth. That's a different topic. What I'm interested in is what happens when we die. At the very moment of death, Jehovah's Witnesses believe that people cease to exist.
Yes.
What about the anointed? Would there be an exception with the anointed after 1914? Do you believe that they are changed into spirit creatures at the moment of their death, or do they also cease to exist?
No, take on spirit, become spirit creatures in heaven. Yes.
That's at the very moment of their death.
Yeah. So, forgive me for not remembering the scripture, but it talks about in the twinkling of an eye. So, yes, something that would happen immediately.
1 Thessalonians 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of scriptures. I mean, Paul talks in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 8. He says, absent from the body, present with the Lord. Now, I don't see how that verse would make any sense if at the point of death you cease to exist. Absent from the body, present with the Lord, 2 Corinthians 5:8.
Just tell me that 2 Corinthians 5:8 is better.
Yeah.
So the New Word Translation renders it, but we are of good courage and would prefer to be absent from the body and to make our home with the Lord. But Paul there is talking to ones of the anointed.
But I thought you said that people cease to exist when they die, including the anointed from AD 30 to 1913.
So the body doesn't go to heaven.
No, I'm not talking about that. Let me read it.
Absent from the body, so no longer living on the earth. That's what their hope is that on death they will serve in heaven alongside Jesus Christ.
Yes, but from AD 30 to 1913, Jehovah's Witnesses teach, I believe, that the anointed at the point of death cease to exist, like the great crowd ceased to exist. It's only from 1914 that you believe there is a resurrection for the anointed, where at death they become non-human spirit creatures. I mean, have I got that right? If I'm wrong, correct me.
No, that wouldn't be our teaching. That the anointed are drawn from those that die after Jesus, as in he was the first to live on earth and then be resurrected to heaven.
You said the anointed are those born after Jesus' resurrection? Did you say that?
That die after his resurrection.
Right. Well, 2 Corinthians is written about AD 60, so that's about 30 years after Christ's resurrection.
Yes.
Right. So Paul writes, we are confident, yes, well pleased, rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. So at the point of death, you leave your physical body, you're absent from the body, which goes into the ground and rots, but the spirit or soul part of you gets to be present with the Lord. And that's written about AD 60.
So they continue living in heaven.
But you said
there's no need for there to be a soul for that scripture to be true.
Well, how can a person, if a person is just a physical body, if we don't have a soul or spirit, how can this verse make sense? It's written in about AD 60.
Yes.
Paul says, we are confident, yes, well pleased, rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. In what sense are you present with the Lord if all you are is a physical body and that's died and gone into the grave, which is now rotting? How can you be present with the Lord?
I don't think that most Christian faiths believe that the actual physical body of the person goes to heaven.
I didn't say that.
No.
I said the opposite. I said the verse says, 2 Corinthians 5:8, we are confident, yes, well pleased, rather to be absent from the body. So the body's in the grave. It hasn't got to heaven. The body's in the grave. It's rotting in the grave. And be present with the Lord. So in some sense, a Christian who dies, the body is in the grave rotting, but in some sense they're present with the Lord. Now, what part of that person is present with the Lord? I would say it is their soul or spirit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they become a spirit.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Yeah, so they become a spirit creature.
Hold on. I thought Jehovah's Witnesses taught that the anointed become spirit creatures from 1914 onwards.
No, you've already asked me that question.
So when do they become spirit creatures?
From when they die.
Which Jehovah's Witness literature says that? Could you show me where from AD 30 right through to 1913 and 1914, right through to the present day, all anointed become spirit creatures at the moment of death? Which Jehovah's Witness literature says that?
I will try and get a reference for
yes,
you.
Thank you.
Yes,
because I think you need to get a reference, because I'd like to know what the official position is. You see, I say that with respect. Paul also.
Obviously, I'm just one man here, trying my best to answer your questions. So it's not like I can give you an official position, as in.
Well, I want an official position. No, you're not helping me by guessing. Because if one Jehovah's Witness guesses and says one thing, and then another Jehovah's Witness guesses and says something totally different, and they're really all guessing, you're not helping me. I'd much rather you say, look, give me a week or two, Robert. I'll get back to you in 2 weeks with what the official position is, and I'll give you references. So I know what the official position is. I think that's much better for me.
That's fine. I will make sure that I get you a reference that I can send over to you.
Yes, okay.
I think what I was saying is, if you wanted to get some official positions on other matters.
No. I do one thing at a time. I can't do 6 or 7 doctrines all at the same time. I prefer to look at one thing and ignore everything else, and just focus slowly on one thing at a time. And at the moment, I'm just curious about what happens when we die. What happens at the moment of death? Paul also writes that to die is gain in Philippians 1:21. Now, how can death be gain if you cease to exist when you die?
Okay. Just get so Philippians 1:21.
Yes, Paul writes that to die is gain. And I don't quite see how that makes sense if, at the point of death, as you claim, people cease to exist. I mean, maybe I've got this wrong, but for to me to live is Christ and to die is gain.
Yes.
Well, how can death be gain if you cease to exist when you die?
So, just looking at the reference from the New Word Translation that's trying to explain that verse, it says Paul here seems to draw a contrast between his life and his death. While living, he could enjoy a life in God's service and in the service of fellow Christians, whereas if he died faithful, he would gain immortal life in heaven.
But no, that's a reference, that's using a future tense. He will attain eternal life in heaven, and the context is in the future. After 1914. After almost 1900 years, but it's written in the present tense. For me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. Paul's writing in the present tense in Philippians 2:21, saying, "If I die right now, I gain." Present tense.
So when he died, he gains.
Yes,
he gains
because it's present. Because it's present tense.
He gains another privilege of service.
Where does it say a privilege of service?
Well, it doesn't mention 1914 either.
Well, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. I don't think there's anything in 1914 at all. Paul simply says that when he dies, he gains. How can he gain when, at the point of death, you cease to exist? Even for anointed Jehovah's Witnesses between Christ's resurrection and AD 1913.
He's no longer a human on the earth.
No, you've got this wrong. No, sorry, mate. Sorry. I'm sorry. You don't understand. Philippians is written in about AD 60, AD 55 to AD 60, maybe a little later. It's written in the present tense. Paul isn't saying, for me to live is gain. To me to live is Christ, but I will in the future gain after 1914. There's no future tense here. It's all in the present tense. For me to live, can I make my point, please? To me to live, present tense, is Christ, and to die, present tense, is gain. He's not using the future tense. He's not referring to 1914. He's saying, at the moment of my death, I gain. Now, he's writing this about AD AD 60, maybe a little later.
Yeah.
And he says in the present tense that when he dies, he gains. And he's writing in the present tense. Now, how can death be a gain for Paul if at the point of death you cease to exist?
But again, I want to do the research.
Yes,
but
yes.
He's writing in the present tense, but he's not yet died.
No, he hasn't yet died. You're absolutely right.
So he's talking about the future when he dies.
Yeah. But
then
he's saying that
he'll gain something.
But he gains at the point of his death.
Yeah.
Which is about almost 1900 years before 1914.
Yes.
Or 1850 or 1860 years before 1914.
So I think
when you teach that the anointed cease to exist, they're only resurrected and given new spirit bodies in 1914, when the anointed become non-human spirit creatures in 1914. I mean, have I got that right?
Well, that's what you've asked me to go and get you a reference for.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Let me do that.
Yeah.
Then because I think that's the pivotal thing, which is feeding into the understanding of all the other scriptures.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
at what point do the anointed enter heaven as spirit creatures?
Yes.
Is that at the point when they've died, or is it everyone had to wait until 1914 and then they suddenly went up to heaven?
Yes, I think that's good advice for you to look into this, because I've found it difficult to get an answer. I found different Jehovah's Witnesses whom I've spoken to at the carts have given me different answers, and I've come to the opinion that I think some of them are just making it up as they go along.
Okay. So let me try and get you a reference on that. If I can just say, I wasn't quite expecting the call to take so long, which I've really enjoyed talking to you, but I've just pulled into Aldi to get us some pizza supplies. And my wife's, we live across the road, my wife's walked home because I said I was going to be a couple more minutes.
Yes, okay.
So if you don't mind me just doing...
Yes, that's absolutely fine. Thank you.
And then
yes.
it on,
and
then we can perhaps talk another time.
Another time, if I could ask you to look at Philippians 1:23 as well, 2 verses later, to depart and be with Christ, which is far better. Paul's talking about his death as a departing, and at departing at his death, he'll be with Christ. So that's another one, but I'll leave it with you. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, it's been nice to talk to you, Robert.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, bye.
Bye. Mansfield, and the congregation is Sutton in Ashfield congregation, or Ashford. Let's have a look. Sutton in something congregation. Sutton in Ashfield congregation.